Hello, this is old Mr. Kent of MrKent.com, and I got on my e-bike this morning to go over and take a look at that, or fly my drone from the place that I mentioned in a previous video, so I could get a close-up view of the construction going on. I got halfway there, and looked down this road, and I could see that there was actually nothing going on that field. So I didn't want to ride all the way over there just to fly my drone and make a video of nothing. And by the way, there's our new roof, which we're really happy with. But later in the day, then I decided, all right, I'm gonna fly my drone over and take a look and see if anything has changed. And so that's what we're gonna do on this. And then also, I've been telling stories about things I like in the Bible. And I got started on the flood and Noah's Ark, but haven't gotten very far into it. So today I'm going to try to cover more than I have so far. Maybe we can get through it and look at something else. So we'll go ahead and get started. First of all, the story is in Genesis chapter 6. And the chapter 1 to chapter 6 of Genesis covers about the first 1,000 years of history. And, Methuselah lived 969 years, and Noah, he was 600 years old when he finished the ark. So here we come up to that field, and there's still nothing going on except there's a lonesome old road grader that's working there, and so it looks pretty boring. So I decided I'd go ahead and fly over to another site that I haven't visited for a few weeks and see if they're doing anything. So here we go. Well, anyway, so, and by the way, in Genesis chapter 3, the Bible says that a mist rose up from the ground and watered the whole earth. I don't know exactly what that means, but it's like... a lot of scholars believe that it was overcast to a certain extent, and that's how it was for there went a bird, and he messes with my drone a couple of times during this video. Anyway, so so they attribute the fact that people lived hundreds of years because they weren't affected by ultraviolet rays and so forth that come from the sun, and that could be very true. So anyway, it didn't rain; it just had this mist that was over the earth, and God got all upset with man because and I've talked about that in a previous video, because man's heart was only wicked and just a imagination of wicked things all the time, and so that grieved God. And so, in fact, before he started the flood, he'd said that he was so upset with men living so long and getting so wicked that men would only live 120 years after the flood. And men that were born after the flood would live 120 years. And as a matter of fact, if you know the story of Moses in Deuteronomy, he was 120 years old when God said, all right, I'm going to take you home. And so he made it that far. I don't think I will, but anyway. So, when the ark, Noah finished the ark, and all the animals, as I said before, they weren't afraid of man at that point in time. So, and God brought them to the ark, and they got in, and then God closed the door. And it's interesting because God's closed a lot of doors on my life too, things I wanted to do but didn't pray about, and so it didn't work out. It wasn't his plan. It was my plan. But anyway, he closed the door, and it was probably a good thing because Noah may have seen a friend swimming in the water, say, oh man, I got to help him, Well, God said, nope, he's a sinner. But Noah found grace, just like people who trust Jesus. He found grace in the eyes of the Lord. So God shut the door, and it rained. And it rained 40 days, and it rained 40 nights. And then the Bible says that God broke up the fountains of the great deep. Now, as you probably know, you can go about anywhere in the world and drill a hole and get water, get fresh water. So down below us, down below the crust, there's apparently a lot of water. And so he broke those up. And by the way, fountain means a storage place for liquid. When I was a kid, all we had was fountain pens. And what you did was there's different ways, but the pen held the ink. When my dad was a kid, and by the way, here's that construction site that we're at, so we'll take a look at some of the things they're doing. Looks like they're still laying a sewer pipe in this section here. Anyway, when my dad was a kid and he went to school, they had what was called an ink well at the front of the top of the little desk, and then you dip your pen in there and then write, and then it would run out of ink, and you dip the pen again. Well, then somebody came up with this invention of a fountain pen, and the fountain pen was used for quite a while. And then when I was a kid, my dad came home all excited one day with this pen that he had. It was called a ballpoint pen. He took us into the bathroom, ran water in the sink, put a piece of paper under the water, and wrote on it while it was under the water. You could never have done that with a fountain pen because the water would have turned black. So anyway, so fountains are storage places. We think of them as a place that's squirting water up out of the ground, but and that's, as a matter of fact, Yellowstone Park. Yellowstone, there must be a pretty thin crust there. I know there is because they've said that it would be a likely place for a volcano. But the water that comes up out of the Old Faithful geyser, that's really close to the really hot stuff down near the center of the earth. So anyway, the Bible says that God broke up the fountains of the deep. And so we don't know exactly all the things that happened, but if you look around at some geological formations, you can see that at one point in time, the crust was broken up. And that might have been while it happened. Of course, it didn't affect Noah and his family and everybody that was in the ark, because the Bible says that the water was so deep it was 15 cubits above the highest mountain. Here's a little riddle for you. Mount Everest is 37,000 feet above sea level, okay? And people that go up on Mount Everest, the Sherpa guys, I guess they're pretty healthy. They don't have to wear masks and stuff, but a normal person that wants to go up there, they have to wear an oxygen mask because the air is so thin that you can't breathe. So the question is, if the ark was that high, how come Noah and all the animals and the people with him, how come they didn't suffocate and die? Well, here's the answer, just in case you're confused. They were still at sea level. Anyway, so the flood lasted 150 days, which is about roughly 5 months. And so God had plenty of time to do the things that he has done to this earth. And one of the things, and by the way, when that mist all collapsed all over the earth, that's what provided a lot of the water for the flood. And so after about 5 months, now during that time of 5 months, God could have done all kinds of things. Now, this is theory. This is just my theory, okay? I think prior to the flood, the axis of the earth and the axis of the sun were the same. And so as the earth went around the sun, it wasn't tilted. And so before the flood, there was no summer and winter and all that. But after the flood, the Bible says that God told Noah there was going to be seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter. So my theory is that during the flood, that's when everything was protected above the water, that beneath the water, God could have done all kinds of things to cause the earth to tilt, or who knows? He does, but anyway, my theory is that all took place while the water was on the earth, and so that it wouldn't kill people and everything. So anyway, by the way, as we come up to the end here, in Matthew, the wickedness that was in the earth during Noah's day, and God killed them all except for Noah. In Matthew chapter 24, when Jesus is talking, he says, "As it was in the day of Noah, so shall it be in the days when the Son of Man returns to earth." So the things around us are getting pretty wicked, and I think the time is short. And if you have not put your trust in Jesus, there's a verse in the description that will tell you what you can do, and I'll put my email address down there. And if you have a question, oh, hi there, how you doing? So anyway, if you have a question or anything, don't hesitate to email me. And I think we pretty much covered the story of the flood. So next time, maybe we'll come up with something new here. I want to thank you for watching my videos, and God bless.